Hi. So I wanted to make a couple of videos that kind of describe how I process records after I've bought them so that they can be prepped for sale and cleaned up and so that they can sound as good as possible when they hit your turntable. Um, the first step is an initial sorting of the records as they come in. So I'll take a box of records and I flip through it basically and look at each record and see, is this going in the dollar bin, or am I going to clean this one and prep it for sale online? Um, and it's several steps to the process here, but I'll just kind of go through it real quick and kind of show you the decision-making process that I go through as I'm doing it. So the first record we're going to go with here is called The Voice of Johnny Horton. Never heard of him. Maybe that says more about me than it should. Maybe I should have heard of Jimmy Horton. I don't know. What I do first is I just take a quick look at the condition. Now, remember, this is before I've cleaned them, so they might very well improve after a cleaning, but I can look at this one and say that even with a cleaning, it's going to be no better than a VG, maybe even a good plus. So it's not in the greatest of shape. Okay, so we're going to look up on Discogs here, and we're going to enter the catalog number. And there it is. Oh, there it was. Oh, come on. So there's The Voice of Johnny Horton. And usually what I do then is I go to the All Releases tab, filter on vinyl only, and then I'll quick check to see where the record is pressed. In this case, I can see it was printed in the US, so I'll choose the US. And then this gives me a list of all of the releases that I can pick from. Now in this case, I know it's mono, because it's the JM version versus the JS version for the catalog number. There's only one, so this makes it super easy. It's this one right here. So now what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, roughly based on my quickly assessed condition and the prices that they're both listed for here, as well as what they've sold for, can I reasonably sell this for more than $3 or more? That's kind of my bottom line. So I'll look here and I can see that of the 21 for sale out here, there's a near mint one that's selling for $2. That doesn't look good. So I think between that and if we look at the history, I can see that nothing lower than a VG Plus is ever sold. They're all VG Plus, near mint, or mint. So yeah, this is a dollar bin record. It's not in such bad shape that I just pitch it or send it to Goodwill. I mean, it's still a playable copy, so it'll go in the dollar bin. Oops. Especially now that I've dropped it. Okay. The next one we're going to look at here is One Night by Arlo Guthrie and Shenandoah. So basically the same thing. I'm going to take a quick look at the condition. I can see that this one's a little dirty, but I think it would clean up to around a VG Plus. Maybe a VG, but VG Plus, somewhere in there. I'm also going to see that this is a US pressing, so that makes it easy. So we'll pop in the catalog number again. There it is. Go to all versions, vinyl, US. Okay, there's only 5 to pick from. This is good. I hate it when you do this and there's like 100 pressings to pick from. I know it's going to take a while. Usually I can get through these about 1 a minute, maybe a little less in this process, but you hit like a Beatles record or a Pink Floyd record or something like that where there's been 500 pressings of it. This can be a bit of an ordeal, but fortunately this one has been pretty simple. So I want to figure out what pressing this is though, because there's still 5 to choose from. I'm seeing here in the dead wax it says GOL. That tells me it's a gold disc pressing, and sure enough there's only one here that says gold disc, and that's this one. So I said this was about a VG Plus. I'm seeing VG Plus copies of this selling for between $2 and $5. So it's right on the borderline. I could probably sell this one for $3, though it may sit for a while since there are copies out there for $2. But I'm going to give it a shot. So this is a borderline. This is where it's kind of subjective. When it's right around that $2, $3, $4 range, it's how likely is it to sell, right? If this were a more obscure record that might sit on the shelf for a while, I might dollar bin it. But because this is Arlo Guthrie, he's got some name recognition, I think there's a good chance I could sell this one for $3. So it goes in the keep pile. So what I do, because this needs to be cleaned and prepped for sale now, so what I'll do, so I don't have to look this up again in Discogs when I go to actually list it, is I'm going to write the release number down on a little post-it here. That's 1500610. I'm going to pop that on there, and I'm going to set this in my bin over here to be cleaned and prepped. So when I go to list that later, I don't have to go through this ID process again. I've got the release number on there. I just pop that number in Discogs, it comes right up. All right, we're going to do one more. George Harrison's Cloud 9. It's a great record. I know this one's probably worth a few bucks. Not big money, but certainly more than $3. Let's take a look. It's in really good shape. It's a little dusty. I'm not seeing, there's a couple of hairlines, but yeah, this will be easy at VG+. It won't clean up to near mint, not by any stretch, but it's a solid VG+. So, okay, let's take a look at our catalog number, 125643. There it is. And we'll go to all versions. Actually, I just spotted that my personal copy is only a VG, so I may very well keep this one and sell my VG copy. But we'll see after I clean it up. All right, so we've got 7 releases to choose from here. So I'm going to look for, see if I can find a pressing plant identifier on here, and I do. There's a little SRC logo there that tells me that it's the Specialty Pressing Company. So that's this one here, the Specialty Press. And when there's any ambiguity, I'll also check the rest of the runout. So in this case, I can see it's got the catalog number that says SR411 and then the logo, and that, sure enough, that matches variant B or variant 2 to the exactly. So I know that's what this is. So let's take a look. VG Plus in the SRC pressing. Let's see. If we look at recent sales history, I'm seeing VG Plus copies of this selling for $7 or $8. Solid, for sure. So that's a keeper. And I'm going to write the number down again, 2906260. And in the bin it goes. So you get the idea. This is kind of my initial triage of records as they come in. Just a quick spot grade, pre-cleanup. Look it up on Discogs. See if it's over that $3 value. If it is, it goes into the bin to be cleaned. If it isn't, it goes in my dollar bin. Now sometimes I'll get a record in that's just so knackered, it's in such terrible shape that I wouldn't even throw it in the dollar bin. Or sometimes it might have the wrong record in it. It might be a Beatles cover, but it's got a Rolling Stones record in it or something like that. Those mismatched ones go in a special box, and I try and marry them up later if I can. The ones that are really badly warped or scratched to heck, I don't want to inflict those on anybody, even in the dollar bin, so those go right to the garbage. Now, if the record has some potential value and it's just warped but otherwise in good shape, I'm holding on to those because I do want to get a record flattener. There's a couple of commercial ones out there that might help me. If I wind up with $300 or $500 worth of warped records, I might invest in one of those machines to help me flatten those so I can sell them. But for now, if they're warped and they're not worth a whole lot, I just pitch them. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll be making another video shortly about how I clean the records and re-sleeve them, and then I've got another video I'm planning that shows how I do the final grading and listing them up for sale. So that's kind of my process. Thanks again.